My ex and I share 3 children, all tweens. Our marriage broke down bitterly more than 8 years ago. He had fallen for someone else. She was someone who had treated me like crap for months for what was then an unknown reason to me. But either they were having an emotional or physical affair, but something was brewing between them. She took out her anger at the fact that he was married to me, and when he was finally honest and open with me, he allowed her to come into the home we had shared to tell me she was going to be my kid's mom and she would take my life over. So things were not good for a long time, and I've never forgiven him for how all of that was handled, especially when I had a tough time after the birth of our youngest. Fast forward 18 months, and they're married, and she's pregnant. Ex is having a hard time getting our kids excited and happy and attempts to get me to play happy family with them for the sake of the kids. I told him the only positive thing I could do was say nothing, because I wouldn't play friends or like a caring family member for them or their baby. When his daughter was born, the mom bailed. Apparently she hadn't wanted kids, just him, but realized he would never love her more than the kids. She was gone a little less than 6 months later. He wanted me to get involved with his daughter when he found out. He told me his ex wasn't coming back, and he had 3 kids with 2 parents and 1 with just him. I told him I would never be that little girl's mother. Over the years, I've attempted to get used to this little girl. She's innocent and my children's half-sister. I'm not playing a familial role, but I am friendly and interact with her occasionally. Mostly I try to make things easier for my kids. Ex tried to remarry again, but his daughter wanted a mother, and the second woman didn't want to be one. So poor girl had a chaotic life. Ex has been suffering from some health problems for several years now. He's due to have a pretty big surgery to try and help, but he has nobody who can care for his daughter while he's off his feet. He asked me, while also asking me, he wanted to request that I be willing to become her guardian if something were to happen to him. This is where more hard lines were drawn, and I said no. He begged me, and I told him I didn't want to raise his child, or to look after her, or spend that amount of time with her. He told me it would be better for her to be with me than friends of his who have no kids. He said it would be better for her to be with family. I told him there was no way. He tried to get our kids involved, but they told him it would be weird for her to live with us. I was angry at him for involving them like that. We argued for more than a week. Finally, he called me an idiot for taking this out on his child. Then I found out she knew I refused to be her mommy. She looked so sad when I saw her last. And knowing what she's been through, I have to ask, am I the idiot? First off, wow, I can't fathom the amount of hurt you've been through with him. Not the idiot at all. Why would he even tell her, a little child, that you refused it, if not to manipulate you emotionally? He's a disgusting human being. Don't let him make you feel bad because you've done nothing wrong. The fact that this guy tried to run into another relationship with a second woman who didn't want kids says a lot about him too. He seems to want to exist in a world centered around him, like narcissist a little. I feel for the girl, but putting her with you in a home where she isn't welcome isn't the best thing for her. Also, where's his family? It seems like all of his relationships are chaotic. Is his family like that as well? And that's why he doesn't want them to watch her? His family members are uninterested in being a family. I met his parents and his sister. None of them talk to each other. None of them like the other. His parents are legally married but haven't lived together in about 20 years. They live in different countries now. He has a brother too, but I've never met him. I think I can tell where he gets his family ideals from. What he's asking is a lot from someone who's under no obligation to his child. He chose to have another baby with the wrong person and now expects you to be responsible for those decisions. Definitely a tough situation with her being the half-sibling of your kids, but you have every right not to agree to her moving in with you and being her guardian. Literally so weird for him to even ask that. I hate him, and I've never even met him. LOL. I, 42 male, have been married to my wife, 39, for 15 years. We have a wonderful teen daughter and a tween son. My wife's mother has some views that I disagree with. For our daughter's preteen birthday 2 years ago, she sent her a book about crash dieting, that promised something like 10 pounds of weight loss in 3 days. Our daughter was devastated because the underlying message was clear as day. It was a month until she started eating a whole plate of food for dinner again. Our daughter is a healthy girl. She's highly active, academic, and most importantly, happy. Unfortunately, her grandmother believes that she's not reaching her full potential, whatever that means, and thinks she'll be on the front covers of magazines if she can just shed some weight. Since she clarified these views, I've made it my mission to block any unsupervised contact, including gifts. About a month ago, with my daughter's upcoming birthday, Grandma texted me asking for our new address. Normally, she would ask my wife, but since she didn't answer within 10 minutes, she texted me instead. My wife would have given her our real address, but I was able to respond first with a fake one and tell my wife no response was necessary. I couldn't guarantee I'd be home to intercept any gifts, and my daughter would open something addressed to her. I gave her some numbers in a street somewhere I wasn't even sure existed. A couple of weeks later, after my daughter's birthday, I realized that it did not in fact exist, as her package was returned to her. Both she and my wife were furious, and my wife amended the address I had given her before. Grandma insisted it was a completely innocent package. Well, I decided to work from home the day it was scheduled for delivery. When it arrived, I opened it up and found a baton twirling uniform, my daughter's hobby. Sound innocent enough? It was at least 2 sizes too small. I sat my wife down with the stupid thing in front of us and said it was clearly intentional, which my wife refused to acknowledge. So now she and her mother are even angrier at me for throwing a uniform into the neighbor's garbage with the neighbor's permission. Did I handle this correctly? Not the idiot. I wonder if the neighbor's trash is big enough to fit mother-in-law. But you don't have a mother-in-law problem. You have a wife problem. So it's time for you and your wife to have an honest discussion about how she views your daughter's weight. I think the wife probably underwent the same treatment from the mother-in-law while growing up and thinks that this is normal or helpful or healthy, or at a minimum, still battles with these expectations herself. I would be scared that if your wife isn't backing you up on this, is she also telling your daughter these things when you're not there? I completely agree. Nearly every person I know that has an unhealthy relationship with food and dieting learns it from their family. OP, it's time to tell your wife this is your hill to die on, and she can either come to therapy with you and learn to control her mom, or go be with her mom. My 20 female sister Kim and I are identical twins. However, we were very different growing up and still are. I hate to say this, but Kim is the definition of a pick-me girl. She's constantly spewing misogynistic nonsense on how women are weak and should abide by men, how she's so short and petite so she can't do anything on her own without a big, strong man around, how all the girls are trying too hard by wearing makeup while she's pretty naturally, so they all hate her for it. You get the gist. Kim and I attend the same college, but study there in different departments. In one of my classes, there's a guy named Dave. Dave is your typical handsome frat boy that most of the girls in our college have a crush on, including Kim. Over the summer, I started working in a small coffee shop near campus to earn some extra cash. During that time, Dave became a frequent customer there and was pretty friendly towards me since he recognized me from class. After a while, he admitted that he was attracted to me and asked me out so we could get to know each other. Knowing that Kim liked him, I decided to reject Dave and instead offered to set him up with her. We are identical, so if he asked me out based on attraction, it really shouldn't matter. Dave agreed, and I gave him my sister's number. I know they met up for a date during the weekend, but I didn't have the time to ask him how it went since I was sick. Today during my shift, Dave approached me and asked if I could return to Kim the lip gloss she left in his car, since he knew the brand was expensive. I asked him why he didn't return it to her himself, and he said that he didn't want to see her after how the date went. I was confused, so I asked him if the date was bad. He explained that they went to a nice restaurant, where my sister didn't stop harassing and criticizing the waitress for wearing too much makeup and looking easy. After that fiasco was over, she said some stuff I can only imagine is usually said in an Andrew Tate podcast. Dave, who was apparently raised by a single mother and had 5 sisters, was horrified So he excused himself to the bathroom, paid for their meal, Venmo'd Kim some cash for an Uber, and left her at the restaurant alone. I was embarrassed for Kim, but totally understood why Dave walked out on her. So I apologized on her behalf and took the lip gloss with me. I returned it to her 2 hours ago, and she didn't stop complaining about how awful Dave was, how he wasn't a real man, since real men usually like when she brings up how women are inferior to them. At some point, I just cut her off and told her that she had a chance of a nice date with the guy she liked, but ruined it all because she couldn't stop being a misogynistic pick-me, even for 1 second. I'm now back at my apartment, and Kim hasn't stopped texting me, demanding I apologize, but I don't feel like it. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Good on Dave. Maybe you should give him a shot. LOL. Remember, you may be identical twins, but it doesn't mean you have the same brain. Give Dave a chance. I'm joining the Dave craze. Seriously, OP, you should. Dave seems like a perfect guy, and he's polite to the point where he still wanted your awful sister to have her lip gloss back. She most probably left it in his car to get a second chance to speak with him. I would have thrown it out and called it a day. Instead, get dinner with Dave. Not at the same place, though. The waitstaff has probably banned your sister in their minds. I think I'd probably have to do some drastic haircut or dye job combo, so I couldn't be mistaken for her if it was me. Geez. Your sister is allowed to have outdated and toxic beliefs, but she needs to realize that in the year of Our Lady Dolly Parton, many people aren't going to agree with those things. You told her the truth. You can't control how she responds to the truth. I wouldn't apologize, but this is your life and she's your twin. If you decide to keep the peace and work out an apology, then that's your choice. But I believe in calling out stupidity and bigotry when possible, and I wouldn't back down. I hope this knocks her down a few pegs and brings her into the real world for your sake and hers. But for a side note, why did you set them up? Yes, he was attracted to you, but that doesn't mean his attraction was only physical. If I was Dave, I would have been a little put off. I understand your sister thought he was cute, but he asked you out, not a copy of you. As for her, there is the conservative dating app. I hear they desperately need women to join it. My female 29, husband's 34, best friend Jacob, male 30, moved in with us. He's quiet and doesn't make a mess around the house, as brother-in-law used to when he lived with us. However, Jacob has this habit of randomly walking into the bedroom to take stuff from my husband's closet, such as a watch or a shirt. He does it more frequently, and it's gotten increasingly annoying. I felt like my privacy was being violated because I'm a private person. I'd like to have quiet time reading or meditating. I tried to speak up about the issue, but got brushed off by them both. Last week, Jacob barged in at 11 p.m. and interrupted my sleep. I was sleep deprived the whole day at work. Finally, I got fed up, so I decided to start sleeping on top of the bed, full naked, whenever I was in there. Last night, Jacob walked in at 10 p.m. while I was there, and when he saw me, he let out a loud "shoot" and quickly turned around and rushed out. I started hearing a commotion outside, so I dressed to see what was happening. I was met with a lot of yelling, scolding, and shaming from my husband, saying I was out of line to expose his brother to such a horrendous sight. I asked what he meant, and he yelled at me to stop acting dumb. I said I felt frustrated after my privacy got violated, and he went on about how Jacob was only there to grab something, which literally takes seconds, then went on about how I made him uncomfortable while describing my behavior as promiscuous. The argument got heated, and he told me to start putting some decent clothes on and act like a lady since it's his room too, and he already gave permission. I got mad and told him loudly that I would keep on sleeping on the bed naked as long as his friend kept walking into the room. Then I walked off. He didn't stop complaining and complaining, saying I'm being ridiculous, and even suggested that this was an attempt for me to make Jacob move out. Am I the idiot? We're still arguing about this till this morning. What a witch. I bet you even shower naked. Not the idiot, OP, but it sounds like you have a husband problem. He should care that his friend keeps going into the bedroom. And how is being naked a horrendous sight? That's terrible of him even to say that and take his friend's side. Right. If your husband thinks your body is a horrendous sight, I guess you should never show it to him ever again. Perhaps he and Jacob can sleep in the new art studio when it's complete. What is wrong with him? Tell your husband to put his stuff in Jacob's closet or a hallway closet. My friend, you deserve a partner who cares about how you feel. One who cares when you feel like your privacy is being violated in your own home and wants to stop that from happening. That doesn't mean he can't care about other people's feelings, but yours should be a major priority, especially in your own home. There are so many red flags here. Why do men keep moving into your home? How can they not respect your privacy? What guy shares clothes and watches with their friend in that way? What grown man screeches at a naked woman, runs to her husband, and complains? What husband allows a man into his and his wife's bedroom and chastises his wife when she complains? All the clues add up to your husband being gay. Are they having an affair? Right, literally, I gasped at that. Then my jaw dropped at the horrendous sight, and it got worse from there. OP, you're fine because you're in the right here. However, if my husband referred to my body as that, it would be the absolute ends of my marriage. My 27 female, fiance 31 male, is short. His height has always been a source of insecurity for him, and he takes others' comments too seriously. With our wedding approaching, he asked if I'd consider wearing flat shoes at the wedding. I was confused, very confused. I asked if he was joking, but he ranted about how he didn't want to be made fun of at his wedding, and that if I chose to wear high heels, we'll look awkward in the photos and in front of guests. I refused, and he kept calling me selfish and inconsiderate, and said I prioritized a pair of high heels over his comfort and happiness for the big day. He had his mom involved, and she's pushing me to reconsider. When I refused to discuss it, she said that my unwillingness to cooperate was a huge indicator of my level of maturity. She then went on a long rant about what lengths real wives are willing to go to help out their husbands, and said that I'm too immature and shallow to be committed in a marriage if I make such an issue out of it. Am I being selfish? It's not just about what I want, but the high heels help to make the wedding dress look better, and I feel like I deserve to look my best at my own wedding, just like every bride's dream. Unfortunately, his insecurity is preventing me from getting that. Am I the idiot? To clarify, I'm slightly taller, but he said he doesn't want me to look any taller than that. Honestly, if it were me, I'd wear flats. At the end of the day, you want your husband to feel respected and as self-confident as possible. Likely, what was on your feet on your wedding day ultimately won't matter as much as how your husband felt that day. Just kidding, not the idiot. Tell him to wear heels too. You should do what makes you happy. His insecurities are pretty much his to deal with. It's your day together, but you as a bride should look and feel the way you want to look and feel. His mother should keep her face out of it, as her opinion is one-sided and doesn't belong in the situation. Immature is not what you are. It is what they are. So go be beautiful on your special day. He will get over it. If he doesn't, he needs to grow up. Exactly. His insecurity is going to be a constant roadblock in your life. Clearly, mom is happy to bend to his immature and shallow whims. Please hear me. Reconsider marrying this man. That apron string is made of corded steel. My mom was 5'8". My dad was 5'6". He never once tried to tell her what shoes to wear. They were married for 40 years until my dad died. So be aware that you're signing up for a lifetime of what real wives do.